Hey everyone, in this video I'll be showing you how to draw your own board shape in Altium Designer. Usually there are more than one ways to do this, but I'm going to be showing you two of my preferred ways or even the most popular ways that I find myself doing this at my day job. So to start, we're going to go ahead and make a new PCB file. And when you do this, you'll get this default board shape or board perimeter from Altium Designer. You'll notice here is the origin, and if this origin here is pretty close to the actual entire I guess let's call it the world coordinates in this design space. So one of the first things that I typically do is I'll go out and I'll go somewhere in the middle here, and I'll go ahead and change the origin. So something like that. And then I'll pick the layer that I want to draw my board perimeter. So I typically draw it on mechanical 1. That's where I always draw my board outline or perimeter. So go ahead and place a line. I'm going to go ahead and change the grid. That's just the G shortcut on the keyboard. Just press G and this will show up. Let's draw a board that's, let's say, 1 inch by a ½ inch. I'm going to choose 100 thousandths. I'm going to left click here, and I'm going to change the way this draws. Right now it's drawing exactly the shortest distance or straight to my mouse cursor. Hold shift, press space. You'll see it'll changing the routing. I'm gonna do that again, holding shift and pressing space. Not what I want quite yet. Hold shift, press space. And now you'll see I have the drawing style where it goes in right angles. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and look at the bottom left before I draw this. Here's the coordinate system. So if you look here, if I mouse over here at 0, 0, you can easily just look at this. So once again, place a line. Start at 0, 0. And we want it 1 inch by a ½ inch. So 1,000 mil, which is 1 inch. Left click, and go up Y 500, left click, and then just click twice and you complete this shape that you want here. Next thing you do is highlight the entire outline. And what I will typically do is not necessary. I will typically make this of a pretty thin width. You could do 1,000ths. I liked using 5,000ths. So once this is all highlighted out, go ahead and go to Design, Board Shape, and define board shape from selected objects. And just like that, you'll see that bottom left board is gone. That was defaulted from the PCB file creation. And now we get this new board. And if we go into 3D view, just press 3, you'll see that we have a new board. So that's the first way of doing it. And of course, you can draw anything you want. You don't have to use straight lines like I did. You can go ahead and use things like, let's say, an arc, center, click the center, left click once, left click again, one more time. We got an arc here, right? Let's make this arc with 5,000ths like the rest of the board. And let's rotate this. Let's say like this, right? And we're going to delete off these pieces here. Let's place a line. And I'm going to hit tab here. So it'll give me a menu to easily change the line with. And I'll go from 10,000ths to 5,000ths. And I'll just click here to make a connection. And then same thing here. Okay, so now I have this very strange shape for a board. Once again, go ahead and highlight the entire thing. Design, board shape, define board shape from selected objects, and boom, there you go. All right, so you can use anything you want. You can use, like I said, arcs, you can use lines, anything that'll help you draw your PCB out. One thing to note though, before I show you the other kind of technique or method for making a board outline, is that this is a pretty sharp corner. When you go ahead and get this manufactured, it'll actually be a more rounded kind of corner. For example, it'll be more like kind of like this, because they're using an end mill, right, to drill this out to make your board. So bear that in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the second way, which is by a 3D model. I'm going to place a 3D body, and I'm going to choose a board that I've designed in the past. Here's a board I designed in the past, right? Okay, so it's much bigger. I'm going to place it here. It doesn't matter what mechanical layer it's on or what layer in general it's on. Just have it here. So I'm going to hit 3 to go in 3D mode. And you'll see that the board looks like this, right? So I already drew this out from design specs that I had to meet. But let's say you found this board on the internet, you want to do something else with this board. You don't really need the circuitry, but you want to know where all the holes are located. You want to know the exact placement of these connectors without having to draw it out and measure it. All you have to do is, well, before we do anything else here, I'm going to press L. And if you notice, the view here is, it kind of gives you a perspective. You're not looking at things head on. I usually like to look at things head on. So I'm going to go to View Options. And instead of doing perspective, I'm going to choose orthographic. For me, I just like looking at it better. You don't have to do this, but for me, it's easier to see. So now we're going to go to Design, Board Shape, and this option becomes available. See, it says here this is available in 2D, available in 2D, and 2D. To use this technique, you got to be in 3D first with your 3D model present, and then you could choose this. So define board shape from 3D body, and the bottom here it says pick a body. So I'm going to pick this one, and then I pick a face. And I don't want to choose this or anything like that. I want to choose this face. I'm going to left click, and I'll bring this menu. I'm going to go ahead and keep everything default, so I'll have this checked off to hide and disable DRC checking for the model part. And I want to align the face with the top of the PCB board surface. So I'm going to close that. And now you'll notice the other board that I had drawn here is gone. I'm going to hit 2 to go back to 2D. And this shape that I used before is no longer being used. So I'm going to delete that. And you'll notice that when I move this 3D body over, you'll see that I now have all the holes and all the spaces that I needed to grab from this model here. So this is a great way to get your PCB outline from your 3D model. This is very common when a mechanical engineer defines space for your board, and they say that it has to be within these confines, and sometimes you can get a DXF file, which is a mechanical file for 2D viewing, but I find it a lot easier in 3D. So go ahead and ask your mechanical engineer for a set file and just do what I did here. So you'll notice that after I created this board shape from this 3D body, which I'm going to delete right now, it doesn't actually create anything on Mechanical 1. If I hold Shift and press S, just to highlight the layer that I'm on layer Mechanical 1, so it'll actually just highlight everything on Mechanical layer 1 and ignore everything else. You don't see anything. And unlike our first method, we drew that out, so we didn't have to draw it again, because that was the technique we used. Here, it'll just draw the board shape, but no primitives. The easy way around that is just to go ahead and go to Design, Board Shape, and then create primitives from board shape. And then you could choose mechanical 1 or whatever mechanical layer you want to use, or really any layer in general. I'll use mechanical 1. And then you could have other options too, like including cutouts. There are no cutouts here because these are all just holes that are made from the 3D body. But choose whatever you want that makes sense for you. I'll just go with the defaults for 5 thousandths width that I usually use to draw this out. And on mechanical 1, I'll press OK, and just like that, you can see with Shift S that it's on this layer. So this will help you when you generate your Gerber files or any kind of other mechanical documentation. The only thing that's not great about this is that when you draw it yourself, let's say you want to draw your own fillet here or arc, when you're using design, create primitives from board shape, it doesn't give you nice arcs. It just gives you these little line segments that approximates the arc. That's not a big deal in general because when they make it, you'll never really notice the difference. But if you wanted to have nice primitives drawn here for you, you'll have to just redraw the arc yourself, um, or just or deal with these line segments. And that's pretty much it. I know that when I first started using Altium Designer, things like this were pretty hard to understand to do because there wasn't much content on YouTube. But hopefully this video will make it easy for newcomers, or maybe if you didn't know you can make a board outline or a board shape from a 3D body. Hopefully this helped you out. Thanks for watching.